March Madness brings a month full of excitement in the basketball world. Each year we see some of the best teams go head to head in the NCAA tournament, but sometimes the better team does not always win. Today, I will talk about the top 10 upsets in March Madness, but before we get into this video, make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this. But without further ado, let's get into the video. At number 1, we have the Farley Dickinson Knights and the Purdue Boilermakers. The Knights were the underdog team in this tournament, placing second in their conference and having a regular season of 17-14. The Knights played the first 4 games against Texas Southern and made their way into the tournament's first round. As for Purdue, they made a much easier path to the NCAA tournament. They had a record of 29-6, and they had future draft pick Zach Edey to lead the way. The two faced off in Columbus, Ohio on March 17, 2023. Prior to this game, FDU's head coach Toby Anderson stated that the more he watched Purdue, the more he believed they can beat them. The game started with FDU taking over. They managed to score 32 first half points, but only lead by 1. The momentum continued to the second half, and Purdue struggled to find an answer. The Knights went on to win the game 63-58, making this one of the biggest upsets in tournament history. However, FDU's run would come to an abrupt end after the second round loss to Florida Atlantic. The next upset came in 2018 with UMBC beating Virginia. During the season, Virginia was entering the tournament with the second best odds to win the championship. Led by players like Cal Guy, Ty Jerome, and DeAndre Hunter, they were looking to win an NCAA title. UMBC, on the other hand, entered the tournament as the underdog. Led by head coach Ryan Odom, the Retrievers had a record of 25-11. The two teams faced off in the first round, and UMBC showed that they were the better team early. Not only did the Retrievers beat Virginia, they dominated and beat them by 20 points. UMBC shot 54% from the field, and Virginia shot only 18% from the arc. However, the same ending would happen again, as UMBC lost to Kansas State in the second round. In 2023, the Arizona men's basketball team became one of the best teams in the country. Arizona placed first in the Pac-12 and second in AP poll rankings. Led by head coach Tommy Lloyd and future NBA talent Benedict Mathurin, the team compiled a record of 28-7. As for Princeton, they placed first in their conference with a record of 23-9, sending them to the NCAA tournament to face Arizona. The two teams faced off in the first round, and this game was pretty much neck and neck. But later in the game, Princeton scored the final 9 points of the game, bringing them to a 4-point win over Arizona. Princeton went on to make a run into the Sweet 16, where they lost to Creighton. In 2022, the Kentucky Wildcats were continuing their reign as one of the best teams in the country. Led by head coach John Calipari, the Wildcats had a record of 26-9. As for St. Peter's, they were able to place second in their conference and reach the NCAA tournament. The two teams faced off in the first round, and the two went toe-to-toe. The game was tied, and both teams went into overtime. In overtime, St. Peter's gained momentum, outscoring the Wildcats 14-8 and captured the victory in the first round. St. Peter's went on to make a Cinderella run to the Elite 8 before losing to North Carolina. In 2021, Ohio State had one of their best seasons. Finishing 5th in the Big Ten, the Buckeyes had a record of 21-10, finishing 7th in the AP poll. As for Oral Roberts, they had a record of 18-11 and placed 4th in the Summit Conference. Both teams faced off on March 19th. Just like the last matchup, the game went into overtime. Oral Roberts gained momentum and got out to a 3-point lead. However, Ohio State had 2 attempts to tie the game, but missed both shots. Oral Roberts went all the way to the Sweet 16 before losing to Arkansas. In 2016, Michigan State was one of the best teams in the country. With players like Denzel Valentine and Brian Forbes, this team compiled a record of 29-6. They would have to face Middle Tennessee State in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Middle Tennessee State was a team that was an underdog. They placed second in the Conference USA to earn their way into the NCAA tournament. The two teams faced off on March 18, 2016. Middle Tennessee played great team ball against Michigan State. All 5 players scored at double figures, and they were able to keep up. Michigan was able to stay in the game, but a few late game buckets from Middle Tennessee put the game out of reach. Middle Tennessee went on to the second round, where they unfortunately lost to Syracuse. In 2013, Georgetown entered the NCAA tournament as the number 8 team in the country. Led by Otto Porter and head coach John Thompson, they went on to win the conference tournament. This earned them a number 1 spot in a matchup against Florida Gulf Coast. In this game, Florida Gulf Coast showed why they belonged in the tournament. Led by Sherrod Brown, Gulf Coast led at the half with 24 points. But it would be in the second half when Gulf Coast caught momentum and ended up beating Georgetown by 10 points. Gulf Coast went on to make a deep tournament run, making it all the way to the Sweet 16 and losing to number 3 Florida. For this upset, we're going to go back to 1997. And this year, the South Carolina Gamecocks was a dominant force in the SEC. They finished with a record of 24-8 and won the SEC championship. They were prepared to face off against Coppin State, an HBCU program that has yet to win an NCAA tournament game. During this game, both teams were neck and neck in the first half. However, Coppin State gained momentum and outscored Carolina 44-31 in the second half. Coppin State got the victory, but lost to Texas in the second round. In 2012, Missouri became the 3rd best team in the country. Led by players Phil Presley and Kim English, the Tigers had a record of 30-5. They played second in the Big 12 and earned their way to the NCAA tournament against Norfolk State. Norfolk State was the underdog going to this game, with many people counting them out. However, when the game started, that would change quickly. Norfolk State showed they were able to keep up with Mizzou, and the game came down to the wire. With Norfolk leading 86-84, Cal O'Quinn missed 2 free throws, and Mizzou had another chance to win the game. But with time running out, Mizzou missed a 3-pointer, and Norfolk State went on to the second round. In 2012, the Duke Blue Devils headed into the season as the best team in college basketball. This was a star-studded lineup featuring players like Austin Rivers, Seth Curry, and the Plumlee brothers. The team finished their season 27-7 and placed second in the ACC. They entered the tournament and matched up against Lehigh, who had a star of their own, CJ McCollum. In this game, McCollum had his own coming out party, scoring 30 points along with his teammate Gabe Nelson scoring 17. This was enough to get past Duke, and they advanced to the second round when they lost to Georgetown. With the NCAA tournament coming up, it's interesting to see what teams will rise and which ones will fall. But that'll be the end of this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment down below which team you got winning it all. And I'll see you all in the next video.